Tiger to Wallerton or here in Portland. But what I know is that if I came to any place, any and every place in this state, what I know is that there would be three things that I would see in the highest of quality teachers in this state and in their classrooms. I would see high expectations for our children. And I would see them manifest those expectations not by saying, oh, wow, I'm so sorry that you come from a poor background, but manifesting them by saying, you know what? I have strategies for you to be able to read. Maybe not Jonathan Livingston Seagull, but some other appropriate piece of literature today. I'm good enough to teach you at that level. You're good enough to learn at that level. And by God, we're going to have a party doing it. The second thing I would see is I would see human caring, a devotion, if you will, to human caring. That the highest performing environments that I've seen for the development of young minds has been an environment in which people actually love children. I don't mean like them, I mean love them. Got it. 5 minutes. Now 4 minutes and 13 seconds. So it would behoove us to think out loud about what it looks like to be in a caring school. And the last thing that I've seen that would really substantiate both the research and other things about this whole issue of being able to teach is that we actually have a repertoire that's very wide. You know, these kids came up here today, they sang a very wide range, a very eclectic range of songs. Well, somebody had to teach that, and they had to use very different strategies in the process of doing it. The last two issues will be equally important because none of these are necessarily ranked in order. But the other is this whole issue of STEM, or what we are now euphemistically referring to as STEAM, because I do think that the arts play an important part in how the human mind is going to work, and a way by which the design of this work is really to empower both the relationship among and between both universities, community colleges, business, labor, and K-12 or pre-K-12, such that they actually provide opportunities from grade 6 to about grade 14 for young people to onboard into science, mathematics, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And that this is going to be if you will, a constant refrain around the connection between our students and the global world. And that it's not necessarily just the soft skill, or rather just the hard skills of science and math, et cetera, but it's also the soft skills. How do you make a friend? How do you work in a group? How do you be on time? How do you ultimately exchange ideas with people without arguing? And if you are going to have an argument, how do you maintain some sense of dignity? What about truth-telling? What about being trustworthy? I mean, all those things in my mind are every bit as important as anything that they will do cognitively. And the last, and certainly not least, is this whole issue of parents. I said I'd speak to this in a minute. And I have about that. It sort of goes this way. Parents do not know how to use our industry. They don't know how to talk to us in schools. They don't know how to talk with us and be a partner with us in this work. So far, the arc of our conversation has been, you come to us. And if you don't come, then we value judge whether or not this is an important enterprise for you. And I'm saying to you, you're staring at somebody whose father was the only parent. He was a custodian and played music on the side. There was no additional time. Couldn't make it to every PTA meeting. Couldn't make it to back to school. So do not value judge whether or not this man cared about public education. Do not value judge whether or not his participation, or in this case lack of, suggested that he had no value for public education, or mine, or my sister's, or anybody else's. Understand that we now have an opportunity to create a whole new relationship. And that relationship is not predicated upon people coming to us, but how we go to them, and how we actually engage them. And what's on the menu for a parent? Why would a parent, given the choices that they have, why would a parent want to come to our school? And that's no different than the question that the open market is asking about a whole host of other, if you will, commodities in the society. Why would you want to buy a Prius? Why would you want to buy a Ford? Why would you want to buy this washing machine? Why would you want to invest my time and my child's effort in that public school around the corner? We've got to give them an answer and a reason to make that investment. And we've got to do it in a way that gives them entree to things that we desperately know are going to make a difference to how children are taught, both at home as well as in school. I'm going to close on a point that is, for me, really critical to this work, and that is that this is not about whether or not you can make this the same across all borders. This is going to look different across many, many districts and many, many regions of the state. But what we must do is we must shoulder the responsibility of doing it. And when you ask the question, some have said, well, he's a new guy, he's high-handed, he doesn't understand Oregon, we do things the Oregon way, on and on and on. Here's what I know about that, and I'm glad to have this opportunity to meet you, because I wanted to say this to you for some time. It really doesn't matter whether or not you like me. I want you to, but I'm so deeply committed to your children wanting and having their own lives in a 21st century world. And that's what we all have to be in love with. That's what we have to like. That's what we have to care about. And we may be shoulder to shoulder, armpit to armpit, trying to figure it out. And we may ultimately jostle over what it should look like here versus what it should look like there. And for low-performing schools or schools that are struggling to do it, there may be this tight, loose conversation that still has to be had. But at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is, did you do it for this child? Did you give them the opportunity to stand in front of their own society, their own world, their own life, and say, yeah, I can do this? Because to be perfectly honest with you people, somebody did it for you. And the truth be known is the only reason you serve, really, is so you can do this for somebody else. Thank you so much for your time.